violation of conditions by the people that we've declared as rehabilitated in the community space. It's a worrying factor for all of us in the security cluster, where we find some of our so-called parolees that we said they are rehabilitated being found committing heinous crimes in the community, and also them being found in cash in transit robbery situations where they even end up losing their lives. So one needs to also understand the background that when we are confirming the support systems of our parolees before they are placed into the society, there's a commitment of burden sharing and co-responsibility between ourselves and the family to understand that in our absence, they take over our role of giving the necessary aftercare to the offender in terms of his basic needs. The basic needs will be food, shelter, and also support in whatever forms it may come. But also we don't also leave that responsibility to his family. We also leave it to the hands of the support structures that exist within the community, the NGOs, the churches, all the support structures we term them to be friends of corrections. These are the people who are also involved in our community corrections forums. So it's important for us to have this gap that we needed to close, looking at also the increase on monthly basis of the rate of abscondence amongst our mostly the parolees than the probationers. Remember, the probationers, they did not lose a lot of time with their families while being incarcerated. So their support structure is still partially intact than the parolees. So with the parolees, we need a lot of restoration. They were not with their families for some time, except a visit here and there while they were incarcerated. So we use this time for the parents or the caregiver of the parolee to understand what are the conditions that the parolee is supposed to comply with day and night, and what are the things that he's not supposed to do. Also for them to be familiar with other services that we offer, the psychological services, the social work program, so that they are also engaged in the rehabilitation path, because the rehabilitation path is continuing in terms of the correctional sentence plan in addressing the offending behavior of this particular offender until the end of the sentence, where we liberate them from our system.
The activities of the orientation session is wherein we expose the family members to all the services that are rendered by this office, especially the services that are rendered by social workers with regard to the program that they render, because the family members don't know issues like family dispute, because sometimes when parolees and probationers are released to the families, there are disputes, and some of these disputes, they relate to the parenting, because some of these parolees are parents, and when they left their homes, they had children, and those children grew up without father figure. And when these guys, they come back, meaning parolees and probationers, they want, or they tend to want to bossy their kids, and this particular orientation session is able to tell them or how best they can be able to get help from the social workers in trying to mend the relationship between the parolee and his or her child. And as well other services, like, because parolees and probationers, when they are released, they don't know how best they can be assisted in terms of how to secure employment. Then the Office of Community Liaison is there to assist so that they can be able to ensure that they're self-sufficient within the community, because some of them, they've got skills. So Mr. Ndise is dealing with a lot of stakeholders. Another key factor that the Office of Community Liaison is grappling with is the issue of the criminal record, which is a challenge for this particular department, because parolees are rehabilitated in the center, given skills, but when they have to compete now outside with so-called normal people within the community, there is this stigma associated with the criminal record. So that is the challenge that we are currently faced with in terms of the criminal record, that our parolees must be expunged by the very same office. But the law does not allow that. The only thing that is allowed is the issue of the presidential pardon. So in other services, then is the issues of monitoring, because our parents of these parolees and probationers, they don't know as to how are we doing monitoring. So one of the key factors that they've mentioned even currently is the issue of them not being engaged, by our officials, which is a sore thing or a very sticky issue, because they must be able to tell us if a parole starts misbehaving. So the orientation serves as a tool for us to engage them so that they can be able to tell us if a parole starts misbehaving within the community, so that our face can be saved within the community. Because remember, the community believes that this particular process of parole is a failure, because a lot of parolees and probationers commit heinous crime whilst on parole. So in engaging the family members, we're trying to arrest the situation so that they can be able to tell us immediately when the parolees and probationers start misbehaving. So in essence, orientation session, it is a way of us of ensuring that as a triangle, because we're in a triangle here, we're in the members of the community, meaning family members of parolees, as well as the parolees themselves and us must work together to ensure that the parolees is reintegrated back to the society without having committed any other crime.
What we offer are psychosocial support services around communities in Ekurhuleni. So we also offer support services to ex-offenders. We have programs that accommodate our ex-offenders, whereby we give them counseling post their imprisonment, post their sentences. We will give them that psychosocial support as they face challenges after being released from prison. And we also give that kind of support to families who live with ex-offenders, as it is important for them to be mentally ready and to be mentally okay enough to accept them, and also give them the support that they need so that we can prevent them going back to the same deeds that have put them in prison in the first place.
The orientation session was very educated. Now the parolees and the caretakers knows exactly what is expected of them, the rules and regulations. And I appreciated that we have assistance in this session, because I never knew that there were social workers that can also assist us. But I had one issue, and it was with my sister being a parolee. She had to phone in her free time. And I had a problem with that because they ask, questions. Why does she want to go? Where does she want to go? Okay, that is fine, that's fair. But then you get when she repeated herself constantly saying where she wanted to go and why she wanted to go. But now I have been answered, and I appreciate that. And also with the presentation, with the community service and everything that I have to do, it was really, really interesting, and I appreciate this session because I never knew that there were educated sessions like this, and we all appreciate it because now we know what is expected of all of us.